Dun, 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 dun. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. I think I'll leave the singing to Pepe. Welcome to everybody, wherever you are in the world, whether it be Malaysia, Singapore, America, New Zealand, Australia, no matter where you are, we want to welcome you in the name of Jesus. We want to thank you for joining us, being with us as usual. What's it called? So, yeah.
Welcome.
Good, Pepe.
Welcome, everybody. As you guys know, we are on all 4 platforms. So if you haven't already, go ahead, like, follow, and share. Follow our YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
Yes, we're currently on all 4 platforms and we go live on just 3 platforms. So if you're watching us, please watch us on TikTok, YouTube and Facebook. So, and even if you guys are on, go hop onto our Facebook, hop onto our TikTok, or hop onto our YouTube and subscribe to all of those platforms. We want to welcome you guys.
Welcome.
You know what? We're really in the string of things. We've been rolling stream like no tomorrow. It's funny when you actually take a break from the season and then you come back to it. It's like you never left, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you go back into the strings of things. You go back into the routine 100%. Of doing things, and you go back into just. It feels like Tautua is just part of us now. So
it is.
It's a beautiful thing to be called. So yeah, welcome everyone. Honestly,
welcome.
7 o'clock. Before we go on, how was your week?
My week's actually been very peaceful. A bit what is it? Just too quiet.
And the reason why your house is quiet?
Quiet because you know why man what?
Dude.
Yes. It's been really good. It's actually been good for me, like a good self-reflective week for myself. Mm-hmm. But all in all, it's been good, really good. How's your week?
My week's been nice and quiet. I had a few days off work, so it's been reflective as well. And very reflective. When you're in God, it's funny. When you're in God, sometimes the reflective weeks are good. But then they also come with a deepness into it. So that was me. It was a deep week. But I didn't even go to work. Then my sisters are rolling their eyes at, but it's all good. You know what I mean? That's what's cool about working with your sisters, honestly. It's like, do the shift. Thank you very much.
But what are sisters for, eh?
100%. You know? What is family for?
What is family for?
Like, I have my little sister here right now.
Thank you, Nati.
Just doing this. She volunteered, actually. It's funny because Nati's been with us since
beginning.
Since season 1. And this season, I didn't ask her to do anything because I was like, you know what? I can't, people have to catch the vision before they can. You know what I mean? We don't like forcing people, but when they see the vision and my sisters are perfectionists, so they're like, you know what? Nati needs to come. Like, what? Lord, you answered the prayer. So thank you very much for that. So yeah, thank you to John and Joyce as well.
Thank you so much, JJ Studios.
Forever. And you know what's awesome is that everyone has got caught of that word.
Yes.
They're like JJ Studios.
They're actually claiming and labeling it JJ Studios. Yeah.
So we were like commissioned from that once they go big. But royalties from that. But you know what? That was a name from God. So why don't we go straight into things? Now last week was a real... Last week... me and Pepe were speaking last week, sparked something in us. I mean, usually we are passionate people. Usually we do have a fiery thing about us. Naturally, if you guys know us, we're naturally outgoing, fiery, passionate. But when it comes to certain topics, do they rile us up?
Just a fire. There's a fire.
There's a different type of spark when it comes to certain things that we love talking about. So last week we talked about Samoan Fa'a lovers. And it's funny, it really did blow up in regards to it, especially in our TikTok account. Yeah, we had a lot of people there's a lot of people speaking their grievances, speaking their experiences, which is, one of the things is what we love. Like we wanna actually build a community. We're not after everybody, because if you're after everybody, you get nobody. But if you're after a certain community, so we love that we're building a community even within TikTok. So going into this week, we really thought about before we go on, we had everything prepared, what we're going to speak about, like all our episodes. But there's just something about when just God comes, he comes and he changes everything. So the past 2 episodes have been really just God just really bring us back to the things that we love, the things that we talk about. So yeah, so what are we talking about this week, Pepe?
This week we are talking about the Samoan church.
Dun, 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 dun. And I think the reason why we say that is because we always get a lot of slack. We always get a lot of people that we just get a lot of backlash.
A lot of
opinions that comes back to us. And we thought, why is this? Like, why is there certain things in our culture that really rile our people up? Right? Mm-hmm. And I think because the church is such a personal thing. Yeah. It's part of our lives. It's part of our, when you grow up in a Samoan household, it's normal to go to church.
It is.
And so I think that's why people they get riled up because of that. So,
but I also think a lot of the time, a lot of people come for us is because a lot of them have the notion, to talk about. No, honest, hey.
Which is true.
That's true. Like, what do you know? Why are you talking about it? And blah, blah, blah. And that's where a lot of the, backlash comes. That's the content of what the backlash is. Why are you talking about it? Like, or it's usually that line that I hear.
Explain it to our viewers who are not Samoan, what that means.
If you don't know anything, then sip it.
Yeah, and that's very common in our culture as well. Like, it's common in the Samoan culture that you hear a lot is like, if you don't know anything, just be quiet. But I'm like, and I think what we spoke about last week is like, well, that's the reason why we do want to talk about it, is because we don't know, and we've been told to do these things, to do all these things, to go to these events and go to church without really true explanation of why we do what 100%. We do. And I think that's why me and Pepe are very passionate about these things.
And not only that. Not just passionate, but it comes with a very adventurous side of us that want to cross the line sometimes, to test the waters, not cross the line, but we like to test the waters a little bit. And I know many of our viewers, whether you're just viewing and with no engagement, things like that, I know you have some, feel some type of way as well.
Yeah, and which is normal. And I think it's good to engage in conversation that's hard to talk about. And I think I just think seeking understanding is such a powerful thing. So the reason we're talking about, like Pepe said, we're talking about the Samoan church. Now, the Samoan church, this is a big subject because the Samoan church is big.
It is.
It's a pretty big aspect, 100%. And it's a big part of our Samoan lives. So I guess what I'm asked, we're just talking about personal experience. So I know for me, I grew up in my village. We only have one church, and it's Fa'a Samoa. And then when we left FX, which is everyone for people who it's FX. So we grew up in an FX background until we moved to Australia. And I think we attended FX for 2 years, 97, 98. And then my parents had enough of the whole shenanigans it has there and left. And then we moved to a Christian Samoan church, would you call it. So I was very lucky that I was traumatized and my parents left. So that's where I grew up. I grew up from the FX background, and even my family are hardcore FX as well. So what about you, Pepe?
My church background, Samoan church background?
Yes.
I've been Methodist all my life until obviously getting saved, 7-8 years ago?
Yeah.
But yes, I born, bred in the Methodist church, or how, we say it nowadays, mickle strong, mickle to the bone.
There's nothing wrong with that, honestly.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Again, So that's my background. My family is very, very mickle, hearty mickle. They're all Methodist still. I guess I wouldn't say I'm the first generation Christian.
Yeah.
Saved. Because I know a few before me as well. But yeah. That's
your background?
That's our background.
So your background's a little bit different here, because I left when I was still in my teens. Was I in my teens? Yeah, I was still in my teens.
You're still a baby.
I was still a baby. We'll be a baby for a year. With the problems we have.
If you're a baby
if you're a young adult,
If you're young.
So yeah, I think I left. Yeah, I left at still a young age. So And it's funny when people say that, because obviously, you know, my family like that, but they're like, oh, it's like, no, I grew up in a Samoan church, but I left really early. So my experience of it is from what I remember in my early teens, but I did leave it in my early teens, where Pepe, she's opposite to me. So I think it's cool because it brings different points of view. And obviously, probably one of you guys are probably wondering, why do we always talk about these things? Because me and people are talking like, we've spoken about this a lot, actually, the Samoan church. So, Pepe, I don't know about you. What about you? Come from your perspective. Why is it that we're passionate about the Samoan church?
You know why? Like this.
Why do we like the heat?
Why do we like, you know, testing the water so much on this specific subject? I think it's purely because, like, this is for me anyway. Just my opinion, I guess. I think I always like to not. Yes, like, don't even lie. Okay. The reason why I actually like speaking about this is because no one has actually given clarity per se on why certain things happen in the church. Maybe it's a time where we're, you know, talking about it, but really it's really like whoever's out there, answer us, come join us, come, you know, so we can pick your brain about it. And I think that's why I'm always talking about it. And not only that, it's just and again, this is just my own opinion. I think I'm now in the process or in conclusion of, you know, of my healing from the trauma that I came, like, you know what I mean, from past trauma, specifically to do with Samoan church.
Oh, okay. So I think for me, the reason why I talk about this, because I like talking about things that I'm passionate about. And I think once I got saved and I went into a church and I saw the church, not perfect church, but church for what it really, really is, which is Jesus Christ is the head. And I think I don't know, it brewed something in me, I guess, you know what I mean? And I've always been proud to be Samoan, so that's why I like talking about these two subjects. So, and I see I see the shackles that some of this, like the people are held in the Samoan churches, that what it holds on our people. And I think that's why I like to talk about these things, is like, because I've seen it, like I've seen the shackles when the church is a place of freedom, a place of redemption, a place of where Jesus comes and redeems you, trains you and heals you. So for me, is I've seen the opposite side of the shackles, but we'll talk about more about that. But that's the reason why we really do talk about these things, team. And so people who tell us, you know, otherwise, which we're fine with, because we've been dealing with the heat for how long, honestly. And then honestly, sometimes people are like, what heat? I'm like, oh, trust me, you don't see the heat that we deal with, but it's all good. It's next one's this. So we're going to go straight into it. And we have like a bit of skeleton stuff. So, Bibi, why don't you ask us the first question?
Okay, so our first question.
Can you see it? Not being rude. I'm just saying, because I'm not being rude.
Yeah. Okay, so what are the Samoan culture rituals that you see in the Samoan church that are detrimental to the people who attend and the gospel?
Ooh! Let's read the question again so our audience can hear it.
What are the Samoan cultural rituals that you see in the church that are detrimental to the people who attend and the gospel?
Ooh. Okay, so I'm going to speak from personal experience. I think for me was a lot of the detrimental things had to do with the youth. And I'm just speaking this from a point of view.
Okay.
Because obviously when I was... Because Samoan people, like, you can be still in youth when you're 30 years old. Like, when you're not married, you're still in the youth. Hey, is it true? You can still in alcohol. When you're not married, you're still in alcohol. Man, imagine if you're single and 40 and you're still in the youth. That can give you biggest insecurities, man, honestly. But we'll go into that. But I think for me was a lot of the things that we did in Sunday school, like su'inga, luka meki. Because the reason why I'm speaking about this is because I couldn't speak Samoan, and because I was very young and I had really low self-esteem, those things were very detrimental to my growing up. You know what I mean? It's like, man, like you want us to have a competition about who knows the Bible. It's like, I didn't even know the Bible, and you asking me to know stuff about the Bible. And two, I didn't know how to speak Samoan when I was younger. So I think for me is those are a type of, especially in a young age, like when you're young in Sunday school, those are the years that build you. Like, You know, we remember those stuff. And it's funny, when you talk to anyone in Samoan churches, talk to anyone who's a young adult, millennial, and that, they always remember those. Like, no, do you remember Sunday school when we got traumatized? Or Nusuenga when we got traumatized? And I always used to come last. Like, I'm really real about it because, one, I didn't know the Bible. And two, I really didn't know how to speak Samoan. So that made me really, I don't know, think lowly of myself, gave me low self-esteem. And that's the reason why I was really rebellious in Angasa. Like, even ask my dad, I would run away from Angasa. I would get hidings. Actually, I didn't get hidings. They would try to give me hidings, but my dad didn't allow them. But I think that's why for me was in my youth years, the programs they had to cater for the youth was a detriment to us more than it helped us. So I think that was that. And all the Fa'a Samoa stuff. All the Fa'a Samoa stuff that's involved in it as well, which we speak about a bit later. But I think that's what's for me is the programs they had didn't really help myself in regards to growing, to knowing the word, to knowing who Jesus was, and explaining what the church was. Because I just thought it was a place that my parents went to every Sunday, and that's it. So that's me. What about you? What are some of the rituals that you think are detrimental to?
Can I just quickly go on to, obviously, just tap in a little bit on what you said as
Yeah,
well? Like,
100%.
I loved my
See, she's opposite, which I love.
I loved my youth. Back in obviously back in the church. And the reason why it's that's where I found a lot of. You know when you speak and something comes to mind, like, and you start laughing because it's stupid. But I love my youth in the Samoan church. You know, that's where I was a total opposite to Summit. That's where I actually learned Fa'a Samoa. Was in church. I learned how to speak Samoan in church, and it wasn't just like, you know, they gave us memory verses, and, you know, so even the plays. Yes.
Oh my gosh, the Christmas plays?
It wasn't even just the Christmas plays. We used to have this thing like, you know, the church is split in 4 groups and we'll have govangas like all the time.
So it's like govangas like competition, eh?
Yeah. We used to have like play competitions and song competitions and, you know, all of that. And honestly, I don't know what it is, but I think I played Mary about 17,000 times.
They must have saw a Mary in you. Prophetically.
Mary, ain't it?
They probably saw a Mary in you.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, I was totally opposite. That's where I learned how to speak Samoan, became an actress. I learned my vocals. I learned, you know, become a mother, because I became a mother at a really young age because I had to look after 17 kids, you know, under 3.
And like, even like, but what's funny is that if it was like those rituals that we have, like those programs that we have, imagine the talent that came out of those things. You know what I mean? If
100%.
Like if that was aligned to the gospel, like I really 100%. Feel like that the Samoan church could have been a birthplace for a lot of the talents that would come out there, like playing acting. Like, come on, man, you know we're the best dramatic actors there are. You know,
100%.
acting, singing, instrumental.
Of course.
Oh man, like even multitasking, building businesses, like. I know a lot of people who are just in the Samoan church who can build things like not like just, you know, given a title, be like, okay, you're doing this, and they just build things.
So, that's exactly I guess one of the downsides of it is we have so much talent within the Samoan church that these talents have to go outside of the church to build it.
Yes.
You know, to build it, to expand it, to know more, to grow. Like, I mean, it's a good thing to go outside, but yeah.
But I think I think that's always been a happy is like if the Samoan church really knew what the Samoan church was really is, and see, it's funny how those opposite things really is like if they knew the meaning of these certain things, it would change it, because you know what I mean. And it's crazy. But you still haven't answered it. Because you went into that youth. I want to know some of these things. Because you've been in the church, so I want to know. So, what are some of the cultural rituals you see in the church that you think are detrimental?
I think a lot of it is like... honestly, it's like even umusangas.
Yes, that's one thing we spoke about.
It's the musangas of you know, going, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I just think it's just a lot. Like,
it's so a lot, isn't it?
It's so a lot. Like,
and what's our fascination too with building big buildings, like for churches? Like
because I feel like the bigger the nicer and prettier and the bigger the building, it reflects them.
True.
reflects them as
Tangaluenga? Yeah.
It speaks for, all of their kaukua to the church.
True.
It speaks for, their actions speak. The actions speak.
Action
and
speaks.
the building is their actions also. So,
Are there any things inside that you...
Yes.
Just one thing. I don't want to get into it, obviously, because we're trying to, But do you few things that you think maybe needs to be revised instead of just get rid of?
Yes. I was like, during the week, I was like, do I talk about this? But whatever. Anyways, yes, there's this one thing that I irk. It's one of my irks.
Okay. It's your personal opinion?
My personal opinion. So I was going to say, don't come for me, but it is what it is. It's when they do this thing where they have an ava.
Yeah.
For a new whewhiao, or there's certain things in the church, and they have to have an ava ceremony.
Yeah.
To do it. And for me, I'm like, there was this massive, oh my gosh, I hate that. It might go to another subject, but I didn't like it. There was this one time, I was young, and one of the girls was like, I've got to go palu the ava. And my cousin was like, can we be chosen to do the ava?
Yeah.
They're like, no, you can't do it. And we're like, why? It goes, only the higher people do it. Like the higher daughters. I'm like,
so there's an elite system, are you sort of saying?
Yes,
elite,
1000%.
There's an elitism. There's an elite people. So yeah. Oh, that's true. That's 100% in the Samoan church. There's an elite. It has its, what's funny, they put themselves up so high. That's it. And it's funny, like they think it's a good thing, but it's actually a detriment when you think about it.
It isn't a good thing. Absolutely, it's not a good thing.
So you don't like that they do the ava during when they bring the pastors
I don't like the other involved in church, period.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree as well. That's very good. I like that, honestly. And obviously because it's a cultural thing?
Yes. It's because it's a cultural thing, yeah.
Let's just say it's witchcraft. But anyways, let's go to that one. Yeah, you know what I mean? Here's one thing that I really wanted to ask. What are your feelings towards the honor culture? The honor culture Samoan people have towards their pastors. The honor culture that Samoan people have towards their pastors. You want me to answer that first?
You can
I'll go into that. What's it called? I know. Here's the thing. When you have a warped version of honor, that can go two ways. You can go to dishonor, which Samoan people don't have, because we hire people, we hold people who take up pastoral, go to Marua, go Biula, just take up the mantle of pastoral. We hold them in high esteem. So in our culture, it goes the opposite way, where we hold them in high esteem. And at times it can be a bit detrimental, because I know for me and my family in Samoa, it's like, we got to do this because the Whiwhi'ao's family needs it. We got to do that because the Whiwhi'ao's family needs it. So the honor culture, if it's not brought to a system of biblical, it can go opposite way. And
100%.
It can cost people a lot of money as well. And you know what's funny? I hear a lot of people, like, you know what I get to? Because I'm just going to say, my family are like, yeah, I've FFL. But then they complain about the FFL. They're like, he's in his new car now. Like, look at him and his kids in his new car now. So it's really funny to me that the very people that are doing it are the people who are complaining about it. That's what I don't get. And that's why I say these things, because our people are like, look, he's driving around his new car that he got for his, I don't know, what do you call it, akangai or something like that, or his new house. And it's just like, I understand honor, but it's like, I think we've gone over the top in regards to honor. And it's funny, what I find funny is that the very people that do the honoring, they're the ones that complain about us. I'm like, so why do you do it? And then it goes back to the thing, because it's always been that way. It's about man pleasing, or it's about doing this. So for me, I find it very weird, like in that sort of sense. So, the very people that are honoring these people, that are lifting them in such a high esteem, are the very people like, that type of thing, you know what I mean? Like, so I just find it, that's me. And I think the honor system is very warped because we have a warped mindset in regards to the church.
100%.
That's nice. I like that. That's a good one. What about you, Pepe? What do you feel?
Yes, I think honor.
Do you think it's more personal to you because you are a pastor's kid?
listen, I this is, and again, these are just our opinions.
Yes.
If you got an opinion, shoot it through.
Yes.
Like, you know, but yes, I'm not exactly the same, but I am fair so on the same, I guess, strand.
Yes.
I love the honor that our people have.
Yes.
I love the honor. But when the honor becomes an idol, that's a problem to me. And I feel like along the years, I've learned that the reason why, you know, I can say the reason why I seen my family or, you know, honor the way they do, because it was a reflection of, you know, where they came from and how they were raised.
100%.
So I think honor is beautiful. I think honor is beautiful just in general, but like you said, when it gets misconstrued, it becomes an issue, and it becomes an issue not just, you know, it becomes an issue to everyone, the family, and not just, you know, if dad wants or mom wants to give this, and
that's what we find in the Samoan community. When it affects the one, it affects all of them. So if it affects your family, it will affect a lot
100%.
of people. So I think for me, the honor system, the way we honor our people in the faith. And can I just say this? I think when people go into the instances of going into Malu or going into Biula, whatever it is, I'm not going after that. I think the heart is not for that. I believe it's a purity and for them to serve the community, to serve God in the way they are. What it is what me and Pippa is like, man, if the rituals and like programs and the ministry that they held, be aligned to the things of God, be different. So we're not knocking after people who've built the church. No, because I always said this: people who want to build the house of God and people who are called and like whether it be Samoan church or not, it's not an easy thing. It's not, man. Honestly,
it's not easy.
Now, obviously, and people like, you know, we can see like we can see from the outside. We see, oh, look at them, they're living their lives. Look at them, they're doing this, but. So like the very people that honor you are the very people that speak against you as well. So imagine serving a church and then getting that, and being kids of that. So we come from a place that's like, you know what I mean? So
good, sis.
You know what I mean? So I like, you can't do that, because I think people who go to serve are not after they'll be like, oh, I want this, I want that.
Yeah.
I think there's a pure, genuinely people that go and go through the schooling.
Yeah, because honestly, can we just quickly 2 seconds talk about this? The schooling ain't for the weak, man.
It's not.
It ain't for the weak.
It's not. Our schooling is definitely not for the weak. And I really do believe that people that go into it generally do want to serve God and do want to serve.
Yeah, so good. I love that.
But there's always a hierarchy. And that's what I'm... Look at me. And that's what I'm after. No. But there's always a hierarchy. So we believe that. So, yeah, that's the only reason we said that, honestly. Do you want to add anything into that?
No. Just again, I agree. Like, I love the honor that our people have for, like, I guess, you know, our whiwhiaus and all of that. But man, when it becomes when they pass the line, when, you know, when honor becomes something, because, you know, I see it from my own parents. They honor because half of the reason I reckon they honor is I reckon is because they think it's, you know, it's a way for them to receive blessings. I mean, you do, obviously, you know, but from this specific person, I have to give you everything to receive whatever. Do you know what I mean? Not necessarily, you know, giving back what we've given, but more so in the sense of spiritually as well. And I see that with my parents. I feel like they honor to the point where it's like, oh, I look at it like, okay, now you're honoring why? Like, why are you honoring in that sense? In that way. Like, I love her, you know.
Yeah, like, and I think we always talk about this. One thing we're trying not to do is obviously, but it's very true. Like, I think it's one of those things that it's a fine line in regards to honor.
100%.
And like we spoke about last week, because our people are a natural, what's it called? Man-pleasing type of culture. So obviously that will seep into the church. So we brought that into the church, and it's very hard. Like, and I think it's hard for both people. It's hard for the people who are ministers to the people, who are ministers to God, and to the members of the church. I think it goes both ways. It has to be 50-50. Because I always say it to my sister, like, I always have this conversation in my family. I'm like, we can blame the people who, like, you know, institutions and all that, but the people who are the members, they keep doing it. Like, at the end of the day, like, the other one's like, hey, maybe we should talk about this and maybe not agree with certain things. So I think it's a conversation between 50-50. You can't blame it all on the people
100%,
that do the work of God according to them.
100%. I agree, 1000%.
You like that?
Yeah.
I like that as well, honestly.
I like that.
And it's honestly, it's hard for us to speak about because obviously our families are in it.
Yes.
And one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to throw our families under the bus. So we just want to
that's
speak
the
from
last-
experiences, from our experiences and everything that we are. Okay. This one's good. Will Samoan churches survive in the next 100 years?
100% no.
Why do you...
You know, again, talk to me nice, people. No.
What's with people are?
No. I honestly, I think the question that Senga asked was, will our church or the Samoan church survive in 100 years? And honestly, I think I love that the question is obviously on our run sheet and she's asking me, but I feel like that's also a good question for everyone out there, whether you come across this video, this question specifically for all our Samoan people. Do you reckon that our church will last the next 100 years? For me, no.
Okay.
The reason why I think it won't survive is because we aren't educated the right way to hold it, if that makes sense. Well, for me anyway.
Personal opinion, of course.
Yeah, for me anyway, I wouldn't. I would be okay. I would be okay if there was no Samoan church in 100 years.
Damn.
Come for my head.
That's a strong statement. So why do you believe?
Opinion.
Why a strong opinion?
Yeah.
Why?
I can live without it.
Okay.
I can live without the Samoan church.
Yeah.
Now, Samoan church, I'm not saying live without Samoan or Samoa or live without the church. I'm just saying I can live without the Samoan church.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
What do you reckon?
I think will the Samoan church last another 100 years? Well, depending on global warming, will there be a Samoa? Sorry.
I reckon we'll be standing longer than Tom.
John's like rolling his eyes, honestly. Will the Samoan church last 100 years? It will take a spiritual awakening for these churches to last the next 100 years. And I mean a spiritual awakening, not a cultural awakening, not a people awakening, not like that, but a spiritual awakening in order for us to keep these beautiful things that were of God. Because I'm not the type of person to be like that comes against the church and stuff like that. No, I believe every church has a mantle, but I think it's veered away from the vision that God gave the original people. So I think, I always do that when I'm touching a vein or something. But for me is, I think if we have a spiritual awakening in these churches in the next 100 years, I believe there can be a massive revival in the FX and Methodist, honestly, because I don't want to lose it. I really don't. Like, I believe these are beautiful things that were from God. But like I said, it's veered away from the things of God. So for me, it can survive if it has a spiritual awakening, but it will not survive the way it's going because like I said, there is a young generation coming up. There is. Are they going to hold on to the culture or they're going to hold on to their families? Because, that's where it's coming from.
That's good.
You have a question, Nati?
Someone on TikTok said, I just think Samoan churches are stuck in the idealization of a pastor or faithful.
Oh, that's a very good question.
Can you repeat that again?
So, this is someone from TikTok saying, I just think Samoan churches are stuck in the idealization of a pastor or faithful.
Very good. So we just had a comment from TikTok. Is there a name?
Yeah, silenced.
Silenced. Thank you for your comment.
May you not be silenced. May you no longer be silenced.
They said that there's an idolization in regards to pastors and faith elves, which is true. Like, I think that's a very common thing. And here's one thing. Okay, I'm going to a bit veer off. Okay, one thing that I realized is that when we have these cultural things and stuff like that, like, I find that a lot of people of the faith, the people who lead churches, go to these things and they're given a lot of stuff. But I was like, man, maybe we should just have one person go there and bless their thing. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the things that I believe in idolization. But like I said, it goes both ways. It's not just the person serving; it's the people who are doing other stuff as well. So, but we won't go into that. But I like that question, that will the church survive in 100 years?
I really like that,
because I don't want the I honestly, and this is my heart, the Church of God, the Samoan church, it's just veered away from the vision that God gave it. Because when God births something, it's not from a place of manhood, it's not from a place of that. I believe when Methodist, we know that Methodist comes from a spiritual awakening. We know that ethics comes from a spiritual awakening, but like we said, the culture has seeped in, man-pleasing has seeped in, and I think for me, it needs a spiritual, Holy Spirit revival move of God within those
awakening.
And the reason why I call it institutions, because I believe that institutions, they run like institutions in regards to the Samoan churches.
100%, I agree.
You think so? Yeah, they run like institutions, not run like a church, and I think that's where I'm coming from. So we love that. And we just got a few comments in regards to the Tongan church. What do they say?
Tonga will stand forever because God anointed that beautiful paradise of a nation. 100%. Because I'm part Tongan.
Yeah, honestly, we'll talk about this some other time, but it's true.
Yes.
We believe that too. We believe like a nation and stuff like that. And honestly, if someone's really about to talk, what's a comment, Natsi? Is it funny?
What?
It says no, it won't survive because everyone will realise the corruption. It's all based on aikupe.
Okay, we just had a comment on TikTok when they said that someone believes the church will not survive, the Samoan church will not survive in 100 years because it's all about corruption, which is about money corruption. Aikupe is another word.
But
very good comment. And that's why
I ain't even mad at that comment.
Pardon?
I'm not even mad at that comment.
Same as me. It doesn't even hurt me. Doesn't even like...
No, but I'm almost agreeing with you at this point. No, I'm joking. No, listen, every congregation, every denomination has some type of corruption somewhere. Do you know what I mean? In I guess in the Pacific... No, I shouldn't say that because I wouldn't know, actually. So I take that back. But I can say I do kind of agree with him when he says there's corruption, because I know firsthand there's corruption, but that's hearsay.
And it's true, and I think we can speak like fruit speaks for itself. You know what I mean? In the church, you know what I mean? Are we like in the word it says, you make disciples? Are people coming into the Samoan church? Are they getting redeemed? Are they getting set free in their addictions and all that type of thing? So I'm making the observation in regards to that, like in regards to, is the Samoan church making disciples? Are they redeeming people in the gospel of Jesus? Are they set free in the things of God? Is sin an issue there? You know what I mean? All those issues which the church is. And I think that's why that comment does not shock me, because I think what you're coming from a point of view is what you see. Because all you've seen is, corruption. And I'm going to call this out. It's like when it happens, it's like Samoan churches, when someone's not happy, they go and make another church.
Yeah.
And then they go another church.
That happens way too often.
And it happens
now.
so much.
It's a trend
now.
now.
They get offended. Someone said something bad to them. The fifth elder did something that they didn't like. So what they do, they go and build another church, and then money is involved, and they split the money. And I've actually seen it with my own eyes, honestly. So I don't blame that comment at all. So thank you for that comment. Wherever it is, we don't take it. What about this?
Tongan and Samoan churches are so similar in the way where culture comes into church and almost takes over, and it almost stops being about God. 100%,
You can speak into that. I love that.
100%. I love that. If you can't read, one of our viewers, she said Tongan and Samoan churches are so similar in the way where culture comes into church and it almost takes over and it almost stops being about God. Yes. And I think that's my issue.
Yeah. That's your issue.
Dead ass my issue. My issue is now it's become, now it's become now we have to do this, and we have to measure this to be able to speak about God, or to, in their minds, that's how they get to heaven. Yeah. And another, one of the biggest things, especially I've seen it all my life growing up, is man, the way they serve, they grind and they work and they serve. Especially my parents, man, they are hustlers, and they grinded for the church. But them mentality-wise, it was them grinding to give all to church to gain.
Yep.
Like to gain, I don't know, a spot in heaven.
Yeah.
To gain,
How it
know,
works.
or-
Works,
yes.
yeah.
The works, like, oh my gosh. And that's one of the main things. That
Yeah,
kind
it works.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
works. That's one of probably the main things, because now being the saved woman,
Yeah, 100%.
now being saved, what you call it, man, your salvation is given so freely. It's not even funny. It's like as free can be.
Yes,
you
100%.
know? Man, and
I love that.
being the person that I am now, knowing that now, and then I'm looking back like, bro, my parents were grinding for this, for something that I got on a silver platter.
That's such a good point. I love that. We just have a few comments in regards to Vela said Samoan church won't survive without Jesus actually being the center of it all.
Yeah.
Amen.
Okay.
There's no need to add to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Vela Molasi.
Thank you, Samoan pastor that's in Samoa at the moment. Pray for your people there while you were there. We have a comment here from John, JJ Studios. Does our culture and traditions take away from preaching the truth of the God's gospel in our churches?
Go ahead, girl.
Does our culture and traditions take away from preaching the truth of God's gospel? Yeah, 100% it does. Like, I've mentioned this before. I think sometimes if the gospel was truly preached in our Samoan churches, there'll be a massive revival we've never seen before, honestly.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? Like
1,000%.
there will be such a sweep that we've never seen before, like for it to go. But because like if you were reading the gospels, when the gospel is preached, people come and people get redeemed and people are set free and it multiplies, you know? So definitely traditions and man-pleasing definitely do get in the way in regards to preaching the gospel in the churches, especially within the context of, you know, honoring our parents, honoring the people of there, money-wise. And I think that's a big thing that people spoke about works. You know, for that stuff about work. So yeah, definitely it does get in the way. What about you? You want to add to that?
I definitely understand. Like, and I'll come from the aspect of like, a lot of culture things as well is like you have to hold a certain title to speak.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, man, the gospel is there. Go on the road and preach the word. Yeah. You don't have to have a certain title to speak about or to, you know, to evangelize. Yeah. To worship. Like, and then I'm sitting here thinking, man, I love how I grew up. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's not till I'm older I realized, man, you know, John Wesley, like he was amazing. The founder of the church, like he was an amazing evangelist. He was like top tier, amazing. But do I see the church evangelizing just like that? No, I don't.
It's true. It's very true. So our culture does that come in the way. So, man, that was a bit of I think that was a good question. It was like 100 years, and then we went. It went all over the place. I guess one of our. I think we're doing it. Well, I guess all our questions, honestly, we spoke about.
Okay, I've got a question for you.
I knew you had a question. Let's go.
I've got a question for you. Okay. If there was one thing that you could change, apart from obviously the obvious, but one thing that you can change within the... Oh, no. What's one thing that you can take from the Samoan church that you can use now?
One thing that I've learned from the Samoan church and then take it out?
Like that you can use.
Oh, okay. Man.
Like a good thing.
A good thing? I think
no good thing.
I was heavily traumatized, so I'm not really sure. I think if I was still in the Samoan church, the Samoan church. Actually, I went to a really good, after FX and that, I went to a really good Samoan church that was of God, that was of gospel, that was of stuff like that. So when I went to that Samoan church, the seed was planted into me in regards to that. But obviously we're talking about the Samoan church. I think what I'll take away from it, I think probably a lot of kids who thrive in that type of environment would have
Yes.
loved that.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? The type of kids who are artistic, the type of kids who are creative, the type of kids who love that type of stuff would have really thrived in that Samoan atmosphere, you know. The actors, the creatives, I think they would have really... The musicians, because that's true, because, yeah, they would have really thrived. But I think personally for me, I did not... Yeah, I think that's what they'll take away. What about you?
Same thing. I was about to say, I was supposed to lean into like the musical side of things because damn, we got some talented people.
Some talented musos as well.
Singers.
Singers.
100%.
Even the people who write the plays. Some of those, man, they made me cry. Some of the Samoan plays that we did. Like, they really did touch the heart of people. And it's funny because when you watch them, some of them now, I think the plays speak more truth than when they...
Well, yes.
You know what I mean?
Girl, yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I've seen some Samoan Sunday school plays that are more truthful about what's happening now and how the gospel can come. Like, in these plays, more than when the word is preached or more than other things.
100%. But that's what I mean, the talent in this.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, yeah. No, mine too. I'm the same. One of the things that I take away from, I guess, the Samoan church now is the music is phenomenal.
Yes.
Like, we have some crazy talented people in the church, man. Some crazy talented people. What you call it?
What are you gonna ask?
I was gonna ask. Now, this is not so much just for the Samoan church. This is just in general, like, you know, for our viewers and from other ethnicities.
Okay, before we go into that, I think we've got a question. Okay, thanks, Lena. She's got a question.
Okay. Knowing what you both know, how about God and salvation, the gospel? If you could go back and change something within the church of your growing up in the church, what would it be? Oh, okay. What would you do?
Man, if I were to go back and I knew what I knew now, I would really sow into the youth. Like, really sow into the youth and really tell them, it's like, man, you know what, we're in this place of whatever it is, but I would preach the gospel to them because I think that will be my type of I'll just walk into the things of God. Whatever God give me, whether it be women's, whether it be that, it's like, you know what, give me whatever I'm gifted at,
so good,
and I will do it the way God told me on how to do it. I will take my giftings at what God gave me, and I will sow it into their church, and I would not dishonor them, and I will not do that, but my gifts, I will offer it to God. Wherever church they were, I will take it and I will offer it where it be, wherever in the Samoan church it is. What about you?
First of all, if I was to go back knowing what I do now, like, obviously I wouldn't go, I'll tell myself, first of all, you know, my young self, to stop going to youth drunk.
No, it's real talk.
Yeah, like, because, man, those are... Those half of probably most of the time I did, you know, was in the alcohol and stuff like that. Like, I was 100% not sober.
Yeah.
In all aspects. But being saved now, and what would I change if I was to go back, would purely just to be more present at that moment.
Yeah, that's good.
Present in the sense of, man, I was too geeky too.
Cheeky.
So I was
cheeky.
I was a cheeky girl that wanted to rush. But if I'm like not now being saved, I wish I sat in, because I think if I sat in and really took certain things in, I would understand my mom and dad more now.
That's good. I love that.
But you know, when I feel cheeky.
I think that's a lot of everyone. I think it's a lot of
I love the question, Lena. I love the question.
Thank you for the question, Lena. That was good.
Yeah, no. That's what I'd sit in, and that's specifically within the Samoan church. But being a saved woman,
just take the gospel there.
I'll just go back to Jesus. It'll just be like just Jesus. It's always just been Jesus.
Yes, 100%. It's not about perfection. It's not about works. It's just about grace. And I think if you can say that message, if I was to go back, that simple message of the gospel itself and telling whoever's there, is like, man, that will plant a seed 100%. And that will done. So that's awesome. Thank 100%. You, Lena, for that question. What was the question you want to ask?
No, I forgot. You forgot? But it was something along the lines of, is the Samoan church the same, like, you know, with every other ethnicity?
I think Lena asked. I think there's a lot of, because I think we got a lot of, like, what it called, there is, Orthodox churches, a lot of that, like Greek Orthodox churches.
Can I just say a funny ass joke just to...
Okay,
not go. Joke. It's not a joke. Anyways, we had night service, obviously, the other night. And We had, I don't know if he's, there's a girl, she's viral on TikTok, what you call it? She's got like the 2770 tattoo somewhere.
Come on, do it.
She's from Maoni. Anyways, Kirsty or something like that. That's her name. Well, she came to church one time and I was like, hey, how are you? You know, just making conversation. And I was like, oh, what background? Like, you know, what church? She goes, I go to an Orthodox church. And I was like, oh, the confidence in me, honey. No need. I was like, damn, man, you just go Orthodox. And I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I know that church. She was like, yeah. And I go, yeah, that's where you use, I was like, that's where you do the Hanukkah thing. The Hanukkah
So confident in your Hanukkah, already.
It was a Hanukkah thingy, and she looked and she was like, "I know, sis." I was like, "Choice."
But you know, it's funny. That's so you were. You're very confident, like nah, and then you probably go away like, nah, there is a Hanukkah. And Orthodox.
You know what? I went home and I was like, "What is Hanukkah?"
It's Jewish, eh?
It's the candle thing.
Yeah, the Jewish.
It's the candle thing. So yeah. Hanukkah and Orthodox, look, she said no, but I know there's a connection.
Yeah, see?
We don't know
We don't know there's a connection, but Pepe has made up in her mind there's a connection.
100%.
Okay, cool. I got a question. What do you think? Okay, obviously no one's going to ask this, but I want to say this. What would be your advice to young pastors, young people who are in the Samoan church? What would be your word of advice to them? Oh, that's a good
Especially the young ones.
The young ones.
A very good one, because those are the young ones is the one that's going to carry out for the next 100 years that we are. Yeah. That we are.
What would be your... Okay, if you would, what would be your word of advice to them?
I do have... I have, you know, a sibling that's in the Ngolongo right now.
So,
my word of advice... or encouragement, I guess, is less about everything else and just more of Jesus.
That's good.
Just less and less of everything else, all the added stuff on. Just less of a whole heap of less of that, and just more of Jesus. More of Jesus, not just. And also, when I say more of Jesus, I don't mean just the Jesus that they've painted, you know. Because you know they've obviously painted a Jesus in their way, but more so a Jesus, the word from the scripture, that Jesus, not the cultural Samoan Jesus.
Yeah, that's good.
But more so just the less of everything else and just more of Jesus.
I like that. If I think of my word of advice for anyone that's young in the faith and that's in a Samoan church that's like doing the work, I think for me it would be know who you are in God.
Oh yes. 100%.
Know who you are, know who called you, and know that the calling is always all about Him. He's the highest calling. 100%. I think if you know that He's the highest calling, everything else that people try to put on you, everything else that people try to say you should do, it will really fade out, honestly. And I really do believe that. Yeah. And I think my one is like, if you do encounter the true Jesus, and you're not called to perfection,
100%.
You're not called to man. You're not called to that.
Yes,
you know.
love that.
And I think that's one thing we have with people who do go into the work. They feel like they have to be perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Do you think?
No.
You know what I mean?
I agree 100%.
You know what I mean?
There's no such thing as perfection. So
like Jesus is perfect. He's only perfect. Like you don't have to be a perfect, but He does have a standard for people who are doing the calling. But I'm just like, if you know the essence of the calling, you know the essence of more the caller. I think that's when we'll see a change.
1,000%.
And a shift in our Samoan churches. And that's like for me. I think for me is if you don't know your identity in Christ, you would not know how to lead people to Christ. And you don't know how to do the work for Christ. Man, honestly, just
so one girl.
So yeah. And you know, sometimes I think maybe do I feel like some of the people who are in the work feel a pressure? And that's sad. It's very sad to me.
But you know what? At the same time, you will always feel the pressure.
Yeah, no matter what.
The pressure will always be there. It's just, you know, how you deal with the pressure. That's where it lays. That's where, like obviously that's it shows where you're built or how you're built. Is the reaction to the pressure.
I know. Because I think the beautiful thing is that we do see a lot of young people do coming through wanting to do like the calling
Yeah, yeah,
that Dad's
yeah,
put
the
on in our lives. And I think it's only our hearts. It's like, man,
It's a
if you know that
beautiful thing.
it's a beautiful thing, but
I
if
love it.
you gotta know the caller
100%.
and you know that you're called, not by
Yeah,
your
yeah,
parents,
yeah.
because your parents used to be
Not 'cause of the
pastors.
pressure of
Not-
everybody
yeah.
else wanting to
Or
pay
putting
you
it
to
on
be-
you, like, man,
Yeah.
go and do this, or your family putting the pressure on you, because of your lineage, like, you know, your
Yes.
parents were
Yes.
that, you know.
Oh my gosh, yes.
'Cause
How
you're-
did we miss this
I know.
line?
We'll
How
go
did we
into
miss
it.
this strain?
We'll go into it. Or because, you know, your parents did it, because, you know, like I said, one thing that we got from last week was that a lot of us don't want to let our parents down. And I think
Yeah.
even when it comes to that, like the calling, we do it because our parents did it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think that gives you a weight and it gives you a responsibility that you were never meant to bear. Like, you know what I mean? But if you do go into it, know who called you.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I think that would hold you through all the
100%.
storms,
Yeah.
for all the
And
backbiting.
it'll become your why. Make it your why.
Yeah.
You know, know who's called you, know who you are in Christ. I love that you've pinned on that, because at the end of the day, that's what it is, and that's what's gonna hold you. That will ground you.
Yeah.
No matter what gets thrown at you, anything, whatever it is, you know, as long as you know those things, those important things, those will be enough to hold you down and get you through.
Can I ask a question? Why do you, like you said that you like, that's a really good point in regards to like lineage, in regards to people take, I can speak from, I'll go into that as well. But why do you think that's so important? Like that people go into the calling because our parents did it? Do you think there's a pressure from pastors' kids?
1,000%.
Okay.
1,000%.
Actually, yeah.
Because it's holding your family, you know, there's a sense of entitlement as well
Yeah.
in regards to, we have to carry this, we have to carry it on. And that's the only way. That's how you carry out a name. That's how it's just like carry out a name, carry out your ancestors. And so it's because, you know, back in 9.90, I don't know, you know, that's when your uncle and your uncle's grandfather's fathers, uncles, aunties, mothers, fathers,
Ooh.
you know, they were all Feife'aus and, you know, all of that.
Yeah.
It's just to carry it out.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, that's that pressure. There's that pressure as well.
Yeah.
Is very heavy as well. Like expecting to take up a call or a title or, you know, something like that because our families
Because our parents did it.
Because our families did it. Our grandparents did it, and they expect you to do it, to carry it on. That ain't my burden. No, I mean, it's not a burden.
It's not a burden if you're called. And I think that's one thing.
Yes, it's not
and
a burden,
you know, it's funny.
if you're called.
Yeah, if you're called,
Yes.
it is. It's tough, but you'll be able to handle it. And I think maybe that's why the churches, that's maybe why some of the churches are not going, because the people are going into that and they're not called. Ooh.
The wrong mentality.
Yeah, the wrong mentality.
Wrong
So
heart.
the wrong heart. So we do have a heart for people who build the house. Do we have a comment, Nancy?
Yeah, someone's just said they always have huge expectations on the family name in regards to your carrying on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. That's very true.
Yeah.
There's certain. Yeah.
Yeah, we just had a comment on TikTok that said that there is that, like what me and Bibi were talking about, there's a huge expectation for kids to carry that name, to carry their parents' names. And man, that's...
And not only that, you know, when young people go into the Allah, they're not going for just them. They go because they represent their parents, their grandparents, and the line before, and the line to come too, you know. So that's another pressure as well. But
Parents, can you please let our kids go?
No, I think it's not so much let our kids go, but I would. That's a good. What would you say? What would you encourage our parents? You know, for our kids?
Oh, sorry, my thing just came on. Encourage our parents. Oh, maybe because I'm not a parent, I don't think I should.
But you're an aunt. That's close enough.
I think what I would encourage, I'd be like, you know what? Go where God called you to be. And it's like I said, know who you are, know who called you, and go what God called you to be. That was probably my thing. But never put your expectation on your kids, because I think maybe sometimes our kids are trying to live out our parents' dreams, and that's a hard thing, man. It's a hard thing to carry. It's like you're living someone else's life.
I did that with PJ.
Yeah,
There's certain things that, you know, I wanted him to do because I couldn't do it. So
that's true.
You know, but I learned the hard way that he didn't like it. You don't like it? Why?
Yeah, it's true. That's very true.
No, but I agree as well. I think one of the things that I'll urge our parents as well for our children is
Allow them to be kids.
Allow them to be kids, A, and B, teach them from the word, not a second-hand, you know, and when I say second-hand, not from what you heard, or get a Bible and teach your kids.
That's
from
good.
The word, strictly from the word. So many people has a lot of, you know,
Mixed expectations
and all of that. And not only that, like everyone has their own way to raise their kids, man. But I'm just saying, like my encouragement would be for our Pacific Islander parents is to, you know, teach our kids from the word.
I love that. Okay, we've been going for an hour now, so it's 7:59. So we usually don't try to go over an hour. So I think we'll close up this segment now. I know. We want to thank you, everyone who's joined us, whether it be TikTok, Facebook, and our YouTube. Please, like I said, if you're watching us, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We're on all platforms, and I think that's what's awesome. Platforms. So follow us, share, and we want to hear from you. We definitely want to hear from you.
Throw us a DM, you know, or, you know, write a comment. It is, you know, wherever you can, if you've got any questions, even opinions or even encouragements, like send it through. We're here for it. We're here for all opinions. And if you've seen our TikTok account, a lot of opinions come through there, which we love. That's good. Yes, we love it. Like we're about that. You guys, no one's ever seen us delete a comment or, you know, things like that. So actually, one thing that I have deleted was people who comment about my weight. Okay, honestly. Hey, come for us, okay? Because this isn't. We're gonna lose weight. Shush. But when are we on next? We are next week, Saturday, 7 p.m. on all social platforms. Like we said, follow us, like us, share this episode if you're on Facebook. Share it if you're on YouTube, please, and just share the love around. Thank you to everyone for the engagement as well. Yes, it's been awesome. Popped on. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you to JJ Studios and our awesome manager Nutty. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you to all those people. We shall see you again next week, Saturday, 7 p.m. Bye.